Hello, in this video I'm gonna be covering the chapter 7 handout notes and mainly the stack crunch portion and using the match pairs applet. So this week it is due section 7.1 and 7.2 handout is due. So let's go to the handout and I will post this on Canvas as well, the key to the handout. So this was the distracted driving. If you read it and started working on it, then you know that it's the study about whether talking on a cell phone delays the reaction time. So 16 students were tested in the treatment group, in which is driving with the cell phone, and the control group, which is either listen to music or listen to an audiobook. And the reason that this is called a paired design is pair data, the same observational units are in both groups. So with the same students experience both the cell phone and the control group. So no cell phone. So you can read this once I post this on Canvas. Ask the research question, design the study, what are the observational units, the usual questions. And part B, there's really nothing there for you to answer. It's just this is describing how randomization was used and why it's called a match pair design. So the reason it's a match pair design again is because each student in the study experienced both treatments: driving while talking on a cell phone and driving with just background music. And the data, so we went go ahead and wrote the null and alternative hypotheses, and again this handout is going to be posted on Canvas. Well, by now it should already be posted on Canvas, so you can read along as you compare with your own work. And so what I want to get to is step 3, explore the data. So the data for this problem is preloaded in StackCrunch under our group name and is called distracted driving cell phone. So if we go to that, I have StackCrunch open and we go to distracted driving cell phone. The data pops up. And so we have subject and cell phone reaction time in milliseconds and the control reaction time. And so this is our data. So going back to our handout, use StackRange to carry out an exploratory data analysis. In the last chapter, chapter 6, that's why we reviewed what an EDA was, exploratory data analysis. And remember, it was those 4 things: shape, center, variability, and are there any outliers. The shape appeared to be slightly skewed, and this we used the tools that we learned in chapter 6, where you want to graph them, group them by reaction time, and we want to know the mean, the median, the mode, and the standard deviation, IQR. So mean, median, mode is the center, and standard deviation, IQR, is the variability. So I did it all in one. And remember, to do this in StackRange, you will go to, so for the shape, graph, and we will want to do a dot plot. And in this case, you can select both columns and compute, and it gives you the graphs for both of them. So there's the control reaction time and the cell phone reaction time. And so as you can see from the graph, while talking on a cell phone, the reaction times are larger. And while the control group, where it's just listen to music or listen to an audiobook, you have lower reaction times. And remember to find your center and variability. We go to stat, summary stats, columns, and again you can select both columns. And we want the mean, the median, the standard deviation, and the IQR. If you're working on a PC, it's Control click. If you're working on a Mac, it's Command click and compute. And you have the mean and median, standard deviation, IQR for all. Oh, I don't think I did the mode here, but I did do it in the handout. So we have the mode as well for each of them. And notice that the control group data has two outliers, and you can look at that by looking at the box plot. So if you go back to StatCrunch, you can graph a box plot, and you will see that the control has some outliers. But this is the part that I really want to show you. So we're going to consider the response variable to be the difference in reaction time. So alpha minus control for each student. So in StatCrunch, we want to create the differences by following the following directions. And some of you have emailed me already. There were some issues with this. The main thing is once you have this box, make sure that there's nothing here. So that it's blank before you start to this part, double click the column alpha minus control. And the names of our columns are not exactly as they appear here on the handout. They're much longer, and so but we want to make sure. So you're gonna go to the menu data, click compute expression build, and that will bring up this box. You want to make sure that that cell is cleared, and then you can compute the expression box. Double click and you click compute. So let's go ahead and do it. So I'm going to go to data, compute, expression. So that brings up the box, and we're going to click build. And so notice mine is already blank. If you have anything in here, make sure that you clear it. So if I had anything, some of you I think are having like A10, some other wording in here, just make sure that it's completely clear. So delete anything that's in there. And now we want to do cell phone reaction time in milliseconds minus, so just press the minus button. You can also click it here, minus, and double click on control reaction time. And you should see that it says 459 values, and okay, compute. And it says a new column has been created, and this is the name, and as you can see, it is. And you can double check to make sure it's done correctly by hand. Just doing 636 minus 604 is 32, and 601 in this one minus 459 is 142, and so on. So this is your difference column. And so that's, we're going to do an EDA on that. We want to find the mean and the standard deviation. So I guess not an EDA, but just finding the mean and the standard deviation. And so when you go, we're going to go to stat, summary stats, columns, and now I want my new column. And so the names are so long, but I believe it's that third one. And we just want the mean and the standard deviation. And compute. And yep, we have cell phone reaction time minus control reaction time, 47.125 and 51.31. You could change the name of this by clicking here, erasing that, and just put cell phone minus control. So you can certainly change the name so that it's shorter. And so that's what is written on part I. And then from this data, answer those few questions. And now we're going to draw inferences.